So we have seen about what is variable data types and then what is functions we have seen. So today we'll see again still more some information on the functions. So I'll take it. I'll create a class called functions return type. That day we saw how to write a function. So today we are going to see actually what is functions return type and then how it is being used. So how a function will be written, for example, it will be void method 1. This is how we write a function. So m1 default method I had. Okay, so if we have a void, it is not mandatory for us to use a return statement because we cannot return any value from the void method. But in case instead of void, we have another method here called integer m2. So this one, if you see, I need to return a m2 integer method. I need to return an integer value. So 10. Same thing if it is a string. I need to return a string value like that. Okay. Based on actually what the return type, we need to return the value. Same thing if it is boolean, I need to return a boolean value, true or false. Okay, that's how it works. Clear? How to call the method? It's so simple. So we will call the method. It's a non-static method. I need to create an object obj1 equal to new function return types. Okay, if I want to call the method, I'll call obj1 dot m1 obj1 dot m2. Okay, the only thing is when we call, what happens, that will go and call and execute the method. See, m1 default method, m2 integer method, but it's returning some value, right? So what type of value is returning? True. So if I want to capture, I can capture it in a variable boolean a equal to this one, and then I can print it so a. That's it. So now when I run the program, it will return me true a. Okay, that's the only, that is what return. Return means execute the method and finally return the value to the place wherever it is called. Okay, that's what return type is going to do. Clear? Any questions from your end? Any questions from your end, Chaitra? You understood? Hello? Hey, Chaitra, you there? Hello? Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, sure. Okay, just 5 minutes. I'm coming. Just 5 minutes. Hello, yes, Chaitra. We'll start the session. So now we have got this. So how to use the return types? So that is whenever we return a value that can be captured here. Okay. So I'll have another one. Integer m3. This is a m3 integer method. Then return 10. Okay, so it's going to return me an integer value. So if I want to capture, I can capture it like this: obj1 dot m3. Okay, so one I can capture it in a variable. Another one I can also have system dot out dot println. Then in that also I can capture it. So that is, it will not be captured in a variable one time use. When I execute the program, this will be calling the method. After executing the method, it will return a value. That return value I'm trying to print it. That's it. Right click, run as Java application. That will be returned. M3 integer method will be called, and then it's going to return 10. That 10 will come over here. That will be printed here as 10. Okay, important thing is after the return statement, you cannot have any statement. It will throw you an error. See, after return statement, you should not have anything. Okay, return should be the last statement in the method. That's the one thing. Clear everyone? Okay, this is about return types. Another one, method overloading concept. What is method overloading? So how method overloading works? So how a method will be written: void m1. Can I have a method with the same name? Okay, void m1. M1 default method. See, it throws an error. Rename it. It's a duplicate. It's saying that actually it's a duplicate. Okay, so even if I change the return types also, still it's a duplicate only. Okay, the only thing how a method can be deferred is based on the overloading concept. Okay, how? If I pass an argument here, then it will be treated as a, okay, this one I'll make it as void. Nothing integer means I need to have a written value over there. So the thing is, if I make it as and accepting an argument, so what will happen? This method which will not have an argument, the same method m1 with an argument. So this is a difference. Okay. So now what will happen? I can have, see again. So if I have comma double b, okay, then after that again double integer, double a integer b, integer and double method, double and integer method. Sorry, if I want to call, how I need to call? All are integer methods, right? Sorry, non-static methods, right? I need to create an object to new method overloading. So we want to call it obj1 dot m1. See, m1, which is not having an argument, which is accepting an integer argument, a double and integer argument, an integer and double argument. Okay, all the return types are void right now. That means it's not going to return me any value, so no need to capture anything. That's the only thing. So first I'll call this normal method. Next I'll call the integer argument method. So integer argument method, if I want to call, I need to pass an integer value. obj1 method double an integer method. So I need to pass in a double value, then an integer value. If I want to call this integer and double, I need to pass first an integer value. Then after that, I need to pass a double value. 10, 30.40. Got it? So here everything is void, so that's why I'm not returning a value. So the value which I'm passing over here, that will be local variable for this method. So right click and as, so it has called. So now here, if I'm trying to print the value here, see, plus A, then plus B, plus A, plus B. Now when I run it, see M1 default method, M1 default method 10. See, when I'm calling this method, it has captured the integer value 10. Then after that it's trying to print it here. Same thing, M1 double and integer method when I call. So this is 10, then the space 30.40. Okay, 30.4. So like this, okay, this variables will be local variables for this method. Okay, that means the access of these variables is only within this method alone. It cannot be used outside. Clear for everyone? Any questions for you, Chaitra? Any questions from your end? Any questions for you? Clear, right? So, cool. So now, next. So this is about functions, method, overloading, and then functions return type. Okay, how actually what the memory allocation part will happen, all those things we'll see. Now we'll jump on to the constructors. So how constructors will be used. So constructors are same as like methods only. Okay, then how would this actually what used, and then how it will be returned means. Okay, so always constructors name will be as like the class name. Okay, so how would it be written means it will be written in this way. That's it. So default constructor. What is called as a default constructor means, okay, a constructor which does not have an argument will be called as a default constructor. A method which does not have an argument will be called as a default method. Okay, this is how it works. Clear? Then next. Same as like method overloading, constructors also have constructor overloading. That means it accepts an argument. Integer argument constructor. This argument which is the passing, that will be local for this constructor. And then again we have command double p. I'm just trying to print it. So this is how we will write the constructors. Okay, then how we used to call it, it's so simple. Constructor usage obj1 equal to new constructor usage. Okay, whenever we create an object, okay, so program starts, program ends. So whenever I execute the program, see, right click, run as Java application. See, first main function start to execute, program starts. Then after that, I'm creating an object here. So when I'm creating an object, when I'm not passing any argument, what will happen? The default constructor will be called. Okay, any program you go, all the programs will have mandatorily the constructors there. Okay, always they will have a default constructor. When you write it, that will be overridden. Otherwise, it will have an empty default constructor for sure. Yes, sir. I will explain why we use constructor and then how we use it, where we use it in Selenium also. Okay, sure, I'll explain. So this is how we will be writing the constructors and then that will be called. Okay, if we want to call this integer constructor, okay, how we need to do this? Again, I need to create an object. Constructor usage obj2 equal to new constructor usage. I want to call the integer argument constructor. That means I need to pass an integer value. So that time what will happen for me? That integer constructor will be called. That is how it works. Clear? So,
So first tell me what is the purpose. I'm understanding you're showing me the program, but I'm not understanding what is the purpose of this, what is this, where it should be used.
Yeah. I have not told you still. No, I'm going to tell you right now.
Yeah, kindly explain that first, and then we'll go to programming always.
Okay.
Because when you're doing programming, I'm getting numb. I'm not understanding why we are using
Sure.
it. Why...
Understood. Sure. I'll explain right now. So, when constructors are used, means okay, when I have some set of lines of code that need to be executed anytime whenever I'm going to create an object. Okay, whenever I'm going to create an object, so those set of statements I want to execute means I will keep those in a constructor. Okay, instead of having it in a method, okay, separately I need to call a method. That time what will happen, it's going to create another memory and then it's going to execute. But each and every time when I'm creating an object, mandatorily for that, a memory constructor memory is going to be created by default for sure. So in order to reduce my performance, sorry, increase my performance, I'm trying to use the same memory itself. Because if I have some set of statements actually what, which I'm very sure actually what that will be executed during each and every call of an object. Separately, I need to call it the method if I'm having it over there. What will happen for constructor one memory will be created and then for methods one memory will be created. So unnecessarily actually what instead of creating in another memory, I will have it in the constructor. So whenever I create an object, the constructor memory itself will be utilizing it and then executing those lines of code. So no extra memory will be created. That is why we use those statements in a constructor. Another thing, so why we use constructors is this one. Another one, when we use in Selenium, if you go. So right now, when I'm going to execute my entire set of programs, frameworks over there. So what are the things that are mandatory for me? By default will happen. One, I need to first know where are the Excel sheets, okay, where I will be passing the test data. Okay, those things, location I need to know. Okay, so those first. Then after that, actually, where I need to store my reports after execution, where I need to store my reports. That location I should know. Then the third one, I need to invoke my Firefox browser and then enter my URL. These four things are mandatory for me to do whenever I need to execute the program. So these four informations, I will have it under the constructor. So what will happen? Because whenever I'm gonna create an object for that important basic class, base class, okay, what will happen for me? These four steps that will be done by default. Separately, I'm not going to call a method and then have these statements. I'm creating an object for the base class. That time it will go and locate me where is the test data sheets are present, and then where is my reports need to be saved after execution, and then the next thing, invoke the browser and enter the URL. These four mandatory steps will be done at that point of time. Okay, like that important steps so will be executed only once. Whenever you create an object, that time only that informations will be done. After that, there is no need for me. Okay, so only those, usually only once we create an object for a class. Okay, here for informations I'm just showing you. So creating overloaded constructor and then creating default constructors like that. Okay, usually only once we create, then I will have some set of constructors actually what as like this overloaded constructor. That is, during my creation of an object, I want to execute, that is, one constructor will be accepting an argument, one constructor will not accept an argument. So what will happen means right now, I want to know what is my sheet name information, or what is my location, my informations are, Excel sheets are present. So I need to pass as an argument over there. That time I can pass an overloaded constructor also. Based on that argument, it's going to accept that information here and then perform some task based on that. Okay, those time I will have the overloaded constructor information. So you should know which point of time you need to use what type of constructors. Those will come by practice and then you will come to know. When you come to Selenium, I will be explaining. So which time we will be using the constructors there in real time. Now you got some idea, Chaitra? Or you're still in confused mode?
I understood, so I think I have to go and read it deeply because it's all new for me.
Yeah, it's new for you. I am asking you whether you understood how the program works and then a little bit understanding. You cannot get 100%. Okay, because you are new to it. You cannot get 100% of it. The important thing is what is the need of the constructor and then how it can be called and used. That you understood, because these things when they come and relate to the Selenium, you should be able to understand. That time you should not be blank. That's what my expectation.
Sure, sir. Within how many days we'll start Selenium?
Selenium, it will take another 15 days for you to start.
Oh, still 15 days more? Okay, so
Yeah,
how many days is this course?
totally, it will be 2 months.
2 months. So the whole course is for 2 months.
Yes, correct.
Oh, it's a long way. Can't we finish it soon?
No, I already informed actually everyone that actually it's a 2 months course.
Oh, okay, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. You understood or you have any questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sure. Okay. So this is about constructors. So now, whenever we create an object, based on the arguments, those specific constructors will be called. If I want to call this constructor, so I need to create an object, then I need to pass an argument. Okay, a string argument if I pass, so the string constructor will be called. So right click, run as Java application. So same name I given, that's why it has been thrown me an error. So compilation problem. So 3. I'll make it as a different object name. String argument constructor, then plus a. So what will happen? That will pass hello here. That's all I think. Clear? Anyone has any questions on this? Any question from your end, Chaitra?
No, sir.
Okay, cool. So this is about constructors. Next, we'll go for static and non-static in the session block. So static and non-static blocks we will not be using in Selenium, but the thing is actually what better to know actually what is that. Okay, so when we use the static blocks and we use the non-static blocks, okay, whenever we execute a program, first for us a static memory will be created in that all the static members will be loaded. So during that point of time, I have some state of statement that to be executed at the beginning of the program. Okay, so I'm very sure that actually what I'm going to create, I'm going to actually what execute some set of statements whenever I'm going to run at the beginning. That is first set of codes that to be executed. I will have it under the static block. Instead of having it under the main function, I will have it under the static block. So these are the different ways of execution. That's the only thing. The thing is, I want some set of mandatory statements to be executed before executing any information. Okay, but only once I will execute in my entire program. Those things you will have it under the static block. Okay. Next, non-static blocks what means whenever we create an object, those set of statements will be executed. But every time when you create an object, actually what that will be executed. We saw constructors also do the same thing, but what is the difference means constructors level actually what it differs based on my argument passage, specific constructors will be called. But non-static blocks what means based on any argument you pass or not, non-static block should be executed for sure. Okay, so how they are written is static. Okay, so a block which has a keyword called static will be called as a static block. So this is a SIB 1. Okay, so I can have multiple static blocks. I can have multiple static blocks here. So how it will be executed means it will be executed in sequential order. First, static memory will be created, all the static blocks will be executed, and then finally my main function will be executed. All the static blocks are executed in sequential order, and finally only my my main function start to execute. How non-static blocks will be written means a block which does not have a keyword, that is called as a non-static block. Non-static blocks also you can have multiple. IIB1, IIB2. So here, how non-static blocks are being called means whenever you create an object for the class, that time they are called. Okay, that's it. So here, when I run it, what will happen? First, static blocks have been executed, then program starts. Then after that, when I create an object, okay, first static blocks, then my main function start to execute. In the main function, when I'm going to create an object, non-static blocks are being called, and then finally, again control comes in program ends. So if I have a constructor again, I'll have one more constructor, which is accepting an integer argument. Integer argument constructor. So now I'm going to create another object here. So back to main I'm printing. Then again I'm creating an object. Here I'm passing an integer value. So how the execution will be done? First, actually, okay, I'll just move these things here a little bit so that in order to be easier to understand. So I have 3 static blocks and then 2 non-static blocks and then 1 default constructor and 1 integer argument constructor. So when we execute, what will happen? First 3 static blocks will be executed in sequential order. Then comes to my main function, program starts. Then I'm creating an object. Now what will happen? It will go and execute the non-static blocks. Okay, because the preference will be given to the non-static blocks first. Then after that, which constructor will be matching here? The default constructor. That will be executed. Then again control comes here, back to main. Again I'm going to create an object. Then I'm going to pass an integer value. So now what happened right now for me? Again, both the non-static blocks will be executed. Then after that, my integer argument constructor will be executed. So integer argument constructor plus a. So what will happen? Integer argument constructor plus, and then the value which I'm passing is 10. 10 will be printed. Then again control comes here, program ends. That is, constructors, only the matching constructors will be executed. Non-static blocks, if it matches or not, anytime that will be executed for me. That's the only thing. Clear? Anytime actually what for me, the constructors will be, sorry, non-static blocks will be executed. Only matching constructors will be executed for the other. Clear? So static block and non-static blocks we never use in Selenium. But the thing is, you have to have the code which are all mandatory that to be executed first before the anything of the program. Before any steps of the program, you want some steps to be executed, have it under the static block. Okay, then each and every time whenever you create a project object, that time you want to execute some set of statements, you have it under the non-static block. Okay, based on the arguments you want to execute, only those informations to be executed something, you have it under the constructor, that is overloaded constructors, because you should know actually what which point of time you need them to be executed or not. Okay, so based on that only you should have it. Okay, so static members will have only single copy of memory. Non-static members will have multiple copies. That is, each and every time you create an object, that time actually what the non-static members actually non-static members will be created newly. Multiple copies will be there. That's the only thing. Clear? So this is about functions, constructors, and then static, non-static blocks. So tomorrow we are gonna see how actually what the memories have been allocated for everything. Clear? So there you will get more understanding the usage of it, and then after that the memory allocation part. Clear?
Sure, sir.
Okay, Chaitra. Chaitra, tomorrow can we have it actually what by tomorrow is actually Saturday. So I'm just asking you, can we have it by 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, a 2 hour session, and then we can complete it? Will
So
that?
same as like whatever we are having it now.
Yeah, right now we had by 6 to, sorry, 5:30 to 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking tomorrow, can we have it by 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, a 2 hour session after half hour?
I don't mind, sir. Again, we have one more class.
No, that's it. That's the only class.
That's fine, sir. That's totally fine for me.
No problem. So that we can complete it by tomorrow.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Hidra. So
Thank
tomorrow
you.
we'll execute about the memory allocation part for this
Sure.
entire programs. Okay.
Yesterday I couldn't attend it properly. I mean, I was attending, my laptop got shut down, and
Okay.
I'll just go through it again, and I'll let you know if I have.
Sure. Yesterday what I took means that's again the same variables and data types only.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sir.
So
No, not I attended that one.
7
The
o'clock
other
session.
one. Yeah.
Okay. 7 o'clock sessions we took about arrays concept. Just go
Arrays.
through
Yeah.
is important.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Chaitra. Thank you so much. Bye bye.